Yo, what's up, baby? Back in the building, Mullet. What's up, brother? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm very good, dog. Had a long drive from here to Colorado and back. You know what I'm saying? Really long trek. Had to drop off my little brother and whatnot. But we here, man. We here.
That's right. That's the way to bring in another episode of From the Sideline. I'm your host, Troy. I'm back with the boys. You already know it. Wayne, how you doing, Wayne? We got a guest, Wayne, in the house. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Excited to start talking some basketball.
Yeah, we got another guest, William, in the house. He had to bust out real quick. He's going to come back. We got Boo-Op stopping by. We might have a special guest drop by in Mel, Southside Mel, the original Southside, now from the Sideline Mel. Get it correct. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who else might drop in. We don't know. It might be a bunch of treats. Who knows? But since it's hot, trade just happened. Hachimura to the Lakers for, what, three second-round picks and Kendrick Nunn? How you guys feel about that trade? Do you feel like it was a good trade for the Lakers?
Yes. Yes. I think it was something that they needed. It kind of gives them another dynamic as far as scoring. He's really long. He's young, so they can kind of develop in the way that they need to. I think this kind of plays into my LeBron theory, but I'll kind of get into that later. But when you look at his stats, he's averaging right now 13 points a game, 4 rebounds, 1.2 assists, shooting 48% from the field. Compare that to Kendrick Nunn, who hasn't really played this season or last season. So that kind of project didn't really pan out for the Lakers. So kind of getting that younger, more healthier kind of experience going on in there. Somebody who can get some rebounds, clean up the glass work, probably get some buckets. Kind of just give them an extra spark, and then maybe with that second unit with Russ, maybe kind of see if they can get something going, kind of get a late push to even get into the play-in. So yeah, I like it, but we'll see if they kind of build off it or if they're kind of done for right now. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a steal. I think that basically they traded away Nunn and they doubled his production by getting Hachimura, and they traded away 3 second-round picks, but those are virtually useless. I mean, those are picks that you take a guy from Europe, he'll sit on him for 2 years, and then he comes back to play. You know, LeBron's on a short window. He's looking to win now. I don't think Hachimura gets him there. I think that, you know, they kind of sacrifice their entire future to get, you know, Mr. Glass to play power forward for him. But I don't know. It's definitely a step in the right direction. I would love to see them make more moves because I'm a lifelong Lakers fan. I just don't know what moves are left for them or what assets they have to get anything.
See, now my thing is, right, Hachimura is 30 games this season, off the bench, 30 games. 13 points. It's, what is it, from the field? 48% from the field, 33% from the three. He's shooting 3 threes and he's making one of them a game. Like flat, 1.0, 3.0. Like, to me, the Lakers need shooting. That's what they need. They need scorers, guys that can score, and you definitely need guys that can hit the 3-ball. Because when LeBron is driving, when Westbrook is driving, when AD gets trapped, or whatever the situation turns into, you need guys to kick the ball out to that can hit shots. I like Hachimura. I liked Hachimura 2 years ago, you know. But I just don't know, like you said, Wayne, I don't know if that's the answer. I think Mulich put it on like that cherry on top. They need to stack on top of this. What other moves can the Lakers make to make their team better? Because I don't think this moves the needle too much for me. Now it can be one of the moves that sets them up for success going forward, but I don't think this move is going to turn their season around that long.
I think Anthony Davis kind of handcuffs them because of his contract and because of the fact that he's not even playing. So LeBron keeps saying, I need more help. I need more help. Well, $40 million worth of help is sitting on the bench. So what else do you want to do?
Russ's contract too. That's the reason why they can't move him, because they don't want to. Can't nobody take on his contract, and you're gonna have to pay him. Not to mention, he's with him playing better. It's like, are they going to pay him now? Are they going to use him? Are they going to? And you can still move him, yeah,
because he only has 1 year on his deal. So this is the last year. So you can move Russ because it's an expiring contract. It's a high expiring contract, but you can move him to a team like the Pistons, but the Pistons aren't looking for a player like him. You know what I'm saying? Like Cade Cunningham is their future. That's why they shut him down this year. Make sure he's healthy for next year when they're trying to be in that hunt for the number 1 draft pick. They definitely want to have their franchise player that they're guessing is their franchise player definitely be healthy to make that run with him. So it's interesting to see what the Lakers do. But talking about trades, let's stay on trades. We're going to start here. We'll start on trades. So there are some trade rumors. It's not much. I'm not really seeing much. But it is saying with Hachimura being traded that the Wizards are looking to re-sign Kyle Kuzma. Now, I remember that Kyle Kuzma was like he wanted out or something like that, right? He wanted to get traded.
Yeah.
So how you think that affects them wanting to keep him? Is he still going to bounce out? Do you see him trade? Like, do you see him just walking away, or are they going to have to make that trade to get some assets back for him?
I don't know. I think that Kyle Kuzma is very interesting, right? Because the Lakers are looking at to bring him back. He was kind of looking to kind of be moved, but at the same time, he was kind of getting comfortable in his role on the Wizards. Like when you look at him and you look at the way they're playing, and you look at his game and how it's kind of developing and how it transitioned from college to the Lakers to now on the Wizards, it's like that's kind of his role. So it's like it's weird to move him and put him in another role to the point where now it's like he has to acclimate to that role. And what if that takes the ball out of his hands? What if that doesn't necessarily capitalize on his strengths like the Wizards have been doing? Like that's the reason why I think the Wizards are kind of like a weird kind of team, is because they have a lot of dominant ball handlers, like people who like the ball in their hands. You have a Bradley Beal, a Porzingis, you have a Kyle Kuzma. All of these guys are really, really good with the ball in their hands, and they know how to create their own shot. So moving Kyle Kuzma, yeah, it may make a team a competitor, but in what way and how long is it going to last? How far are they going to go? Is that the only move that a team can make? Where can we really see him going to where that he's going to really flourish and thrive with his skill set? So I don't know. That Kyle Kuzma trade, it's interesting because the type of player he is, it's like you don't really want to put him in another spot to where he was on the Lakers, where he's contributing, yes, but we're taking away from his game. So that one's interesting for me. I'm really kind of up in the air about where, if they were to move him, where would they actually move him to?
I think wherever he goes, it's going to be a rental situation. He's not going anywhere that he's going to sign long term. He's going to go somewhere. He's going to help somebody for the rest of the season, and then he's going to become an unrestricted free agent. He can go anywhere he wants.
That's what I was thinking.
The interesting thing is really his mindset. Like, does he want to get paid? Because it sounds like Washington wants to pay him, right? Or does he want to win? Because and if he wants to win, what is he willing to sacrifice? Because I know he's averaging 21 points per game right now, but Kyle Kuzma is not a number one. He's a number two. Yep. And so does he buy into that? Does he think he's a number one? Because if he thinks he's a number one, he's going to end up on a team like the Wizards where you're never going to win anything, but you're going to get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if he wants to go try to win something like a Milwaukee or 76ers or even the Lakers, right, he's going to have to be second or third fiddle, especially if Anthony Davis gets healthy, then you're the third option.
Yeah, I'm not going back to the Lakers about him. I'm not going back to play with LeBron. I'm sorry, not doing that. But I don't know. It's interesting. It's It's really interesting because Kyle Kuzma right now, if he gets traded, can help a team that's on the cusp of being a contender become a contender. Like he can help that team get over that hump to put their names in the hat. So I'm just going real quickly. I'll give you. I'll give you some teams that I think is on that cusp that definitely could use a player. Boston's losing to the Magic. Let's go, Boston. Pick it up. What if Miami got him?
They could probably use him. I don't know what they would trade for him because obviously you don't want to give away any of that core.
Well, they said they might be looking to trade Max, not Max, the other one.
Oh, where did I see?
Gabe Vincent. I don't know what their trade packages are looking like. I mean, what their picks are looking like. but on the cusp of being contenders to me would be Miami. I don't know. That would be it for me in the East. Because I think Boston are contenders. Philly is definitely a contender. Milwaukee's a contender. The Nets to me are contenders. Now, can the Nets use somebody like Kuzma? 100%. No cap, Jay back in the building. What's up, baby? How you been, man? It's good to see you back in the chat. How you been?
How you doing, my man Jay?
Need to go to the Suns.
That's interesting. I don't know.
Isn't Devin Booker a better version of him? I don't know.
A much better
I was
version.
gonna say a much better version.
Right.
Of him,
I don't know if that fits. No cap.
I would say if I were to move Kyle Kuzma, right, and to
Now.
make a move to kind of like maybe boost a team or kind of see what the team has, I would probably see.
What's good, Mel? I was
looking at Chicago.
Chicago, Kuzma, DeRozan.
Well, and that's what I was thinking. Initially, I was thinking Chicago too, but then I thought him and DeRozan are kind of redundant.
Yeah, that's similar. So similar.
That was the thing for me. I was like, I don't know how him and DeRozan would kind of, work. And then Zach LaVine, he's already complaining about touches. He's already complaining about this, complaining about that. Like, it's clear Zach LaVine wants to be moved. So it's like, if you keep him and you add a Kuzma, how is that going to work? Like, I don't know. I think the Bulls would be an interesting situation. I think if they can make it work, I think it may be weird, but I think it has potential. But like I said, Kyle, it's weird. Kyle Kuzma is a very, very unique player to the point where it's like, if you put him, like you said, if you put him in a place where he wants to get paid, all right, for sure, you're just gonna be one of those players where you're gonna get paid. But if you put him in a place where where he wants to win, what are you gonna sacrifice? What are you willing to sacrifice in your role to win? So,
Mel said Milwaukee.
Yeah, see, even Milwaukee, you're gonna have to. What are you willing to sacrifice to win at the end of the day?
Yeah, I don't know, because Kuzma would be what, third behind Chris Middleton? Because if Chris is still there, I don't know if you in this scenario, Mel, you get rid of Chris Middleton.
I think if they could move Chris Middleton and bring in Kuzma, that's a huge upgrade, especially since Middleton's making like $35 million a year and he's playing like a $12 million a year player. So he's a guy that if you could move him and you could bring in Kuzma, I like it. But you got Drew Holiday there.
I wouldn't have liked that. You said something bad about Chris Middleton. They don't like that on this show. They do not like that on this show. You can't speak bad about Chris Middleton.
Honestly, I wouldn't be mad at that. I think that would actually work out for them. You got to think about it like they're both kind of really the same kind of player. But you would definitely begin a big upgrade as far as Kyle Kuzma.
I think him and Luka will clash.
Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like him in Dallas.
I don't like him in Dallas, man.
Yeah, I don't like him in Dallas. I think, like you said, I think him and Luka will clash. I just don't think it works. Yeah, no, I really don't like that one. I don't know. I don't like that one because the way Dallas offense is.
What about in Toronto?
Weird.
What about in Toronto? Can he help Toronto? Because who is it? Fred Siakam. They're looking like they're gonna get rid of OG.
I was gonna say Fred Siakam, and you got OG. So I was gonna say, who would you move? You would move OG, right?
Yeah, I would move OG for him. He definitely gives me more shooting than OG. Like, he's a better shooter, like taking jump shots.
Yeah,
OG. So he can space the floor for that. So gives Van Vliet and Siakam another versatile player to play with. I don't know. No Cap said if the Cavs had some draft picks, I would say them. See, I like the Cavs as they are.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the Cavs as they are. I like that team,
and I don't think they need a Kuzma type player.
Yep.
Well, no, it doesn't mesh with Garland and with Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they need a Kuzma type player. In the West.
Now, if we're gonna get crazy, because I got a crazy one, how about to Golden State for Andrew Wiggins?
No, I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do it either because I think Andrew Wiggins is amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Now how Wiggins is playing in that system, I wouldn't do that.
If you're Golden State, though, obviously, I think that if Kuzma's willing to take a step back, I don't know, he's playing better than Wiggins right now. So And they're a team I think can make a championship run. They're 23-23, but I think they can make a run at the championship. Could he be that, that difference maker?
No, people really sleeping on Sacramento. I gotta give you that move real quick before we
Oh
move
well,
on.
we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Don't worry about it. I got a whole segment dedicated to Sacramento. Shout out to Sacramento.
I don't know. It's not many teams in the West that I don't think he fits on Denver because MPJ. Unless you want to say he's a healthier version of MPJ, then I'm all for that because I'm not too sold on MPJ.
What about?
Who up in the building?
Kind of stay with me here. What about OKC?
I'm talking about contenders to make the team a contender. I don't think he'd make OKC a contender.
Look, but just hear me out. Young team, they're kind of floating in the middle at the bottom. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the play-in, but do you think a Kyle Kuzma type player to kind of give them more on offense to go along with the Josh Giddey, to go along with the Shea, to kind of give them a kind of different dynamic as far as scoring, and then you get a Chet Holmgren back next year, and you kind of get that core kind of acclimated, and then you make, what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like when he's young, he has that championship experience. He can kind of, go over there and still be him. Josh can be him, Shai can be him, and they can kind of build around that young kind of core, and maybe they get a veteran and kind of make some noise. Because when you look at OKC, I know I've been talking about them for a few weeks. They've been playing some really solid basketball, man. Like,
I hear you.
This is a young team. They've been playing some really solid basketball. They have and this is without their young stars. So, no. I just feel like that might be a thing to kind of look out for. Not necessarily Kuzma to OKC, but OKC kind of making that splash to the point where people are like, "Whoa, we didn't really see that happening."
What about Kuzma to Sacramento?
I like that better.
Who do they send back?
That's the thing. Because who do they send back?
Marvin. No, they don't even got Marvin Bagley no more. That's that nigga.
If anything, if Sac were to make that move, because
I didn't know Matthew Dellavedova was still in the league.
Yeah, he comes off the bench for Sacramento.
He probably had to give up. Herter.
I would say they would have to give up because they wouldn't give up Herter. They would have to give up Harrison. To get Kuzma, they would have to give up Harrison.
Set up to get Kuzma.
Yeah, no, they would have to give up. They have to give up a young core, but they would have to start off with giving Harrison Barnes because he's the veteran. Rashawn Holmes because he's big, and then probably like a KZ because he plays defense and he's young, and then maybe even like a Trey Lyles. But
I don't think you got to give up that many pieces for Kuzma.
Because you're only getting them for 30 games.
Yeah.
You're only getting them for 30 games. Yeah, but it's like you're number 3. You don't have to pay him right here off right, and it's to make a championship push. So would you do that to make that championship push?
They're going to be a championship team.
I wouldn't give up Barnes.
I'm not saying they're going to be a championship
contenders,
team. You're at number 3. They're contenders. They're at number 3. We have to respect them at number 3 at the moment. It's like, and as right now, they do score a lot of points. Do you add somebody that also scores, that gives you another dynamic to scoring, that can put the ball in the basket? And yes, it does. It does take away from the defense, which is one of their biggest problems right now. But do you give your team a different dynamic of scoring to try to make a championship push? Even if that means sacrificing some of your young guys.
I think they relatively would be the same team. Like they're giving up a lot in a sense, but not really. But they're giving up some potential for a certified starter. Like Kuzma, kind of like an all-star caliber player at the moment. So
I don't disagree with that.
I don't think Kuzma is going to make anybody a contender. He doesn't make anyone a contender. What he does is he strengthens a contender. So the question is, is Sacramento a contender? I don't know if they are.
That's what I'm saying.
That's true too,
Yeah, I think it's out to be.
I just think they're overachieving right now.
Absolutely overachieving.
I think they're definitely overachieving right now. Because, like I
Or
said,
or it's the West that's underachieving in the whole. Like
you can say that too. You can say
We
that
we could
too.
we could possibly say that. We could possibly say that. I wouldn't be mad at that either.
You can say that because you got Phoenix, Golden State, the Lakers, even though Lakers were out of it last year, or either in the play-in or out of the play-in.
right.
When Phoenix was a top team last year, Golden State was a top. Phoenix was a top 2 team. Golden State was a what? Top 4 team.
Top three.
Yeah,
Top
top 3.
3.
They
And
the
then you got
second
teams
seed, I
like
believe.
Sacramento that was at the bottom in 3rd. Memphis is right back where they were at first. Denver moves up now that they got their pieces back. New Orleans get their pieces healthy. They're fighting. They're in 4th right now, a game and a half above Dallas. Dallas is in the right back in the same position. The Clippers are higher than they were last year at this point. So I don't know. I think it's probably you could say either which way, whether the West is underachieving or the Sacramento is overachieving.
I think it might be a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of both.
Clippers only 3 games.
Sacramento, I thought would be a playoff type of team. I thought they could make the playoffs this year because I really thought Sabonis, that pickup with Sabonis was a good pickup.
Yeah.
Definitely, absolutely.
I was hoping he went somewhere else, but definitely was a nice pickup to give De'Aaron Fox a weapon out there with him. Sabonis is averaging 18, 12, and 7. Well, 19, 12, and 7. Fox is 20.
He's ridiculous.
24, 4, and 6. Well, you got to give it up to the Kings, too, because the Kings have 6 players that's averaging double digits on the season so far.
Mm-hmm.
They even got Monk coming off
Who's
the
the coach
bench.
there? Mike Brown? Mike Brown, the coach there?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mike Brown. They got Doug
Brown
Christie
got
as
the
assistant
boys
head
playing
coach.
very well.
Yep.
He got the
Jordy
boys
Hernandez,
very
assistant
well.
head coach. Yeah, he does got to playing well. He's kind of. I listen to the Kings radio every day when I'm at work. I'm a driver, so I'm always on the road. And Mike is always preaching defense. Like in the interviews, when you're talking to some of the players, he's preaching defense. He's preaching rebounds. That's kind of their main problem at the moment. Is yes, they can score a lot of points, but like I said earlier in the season, earlier in the show, if you go back, it's going to become a problem when you run into a team that also scores a lot of points. And I think that's the problem that Sacramento is going to run into down the line, especially in the playoffs. Yes, you guys are good. Yes, you guys are young. Yes, you guys have some solid pieces, and you guys can score a lot of points. But are you going to be able to get the stops that in certain possessions that you need to get in order to win a game, or in order to win to win to a game? And I just don't see that yet. But they have been playing some very good basketball. They got a lot of young talent. They're first in points per game, 4th in assists. But when you look at the rebounds per game, when you look at opponent's points per game, it's like you start to kind of get worried there. I think it's a we'll see. Like I said, I kind of think it's a both between the West underachieving and them overachieving, but they have been playing some really solid basketball as of lately. And yeah, shout out to the Kings, man.
Final thoughts on this topic? Anybody got anything else to add?
As far as it goes on the Kings, I just think that they're pretenders in this sense, and that is that defense. I've always said offense is about skill, defense is about effort, right? And so it doesn't take skill to be a good defender; it takes hard effort. Rebounding is about effort. So you're talking about a team that's not high on rebounds and not high on defense. This is a team that doesn't try. And when you get into the playoffs and you play against teams that have experience in the playoffs, and you're not going to try very hard, you're not going to be playing very long.
Mm-hmm. And to kind of expand on that point. It's crazy that you say that, because when you look at not the last game against the Sixers, but I think it was a few games back when Sabonis was out and Rashawn Holmes and Keegan Murray basically had to step up. And they both ended up Rashawn had a double-double and Keegan had a double-double. Both ended up having double-digit rebounds. And when you look at that and you look at the game and you watch the game, those key rebounds were literally just effort plays. It was literally just effort plays, and that was the difference between the game. So it's like you have to start putting that together on a consistent level for people to start taking you seriously, especially in the playoffs. And that's why I kept saying we can't sit up here and boast this team up because they're coming up in the rise so quick, and we haven't seen them produce anything in the playoffs yet, especially a young team, especially a new team that hasn't been in the fold of things for a while like the Kings.
All right. So, Wayne, we normally do a segment here called Trash Talking TikTokers is the name of it right now.
Okay.
Right. We all know what TikTok is. There's a lot of people that run their damn mouths on TikTok. I'm not going to dive in today like I normally dive in on you dudes. I just want to point out one comment. I'm not going to say the guy said I don't feel like looking for it. Okay. I didn't prepare myself as much. Right. But it clicked in my head today. So this guy said that if I do everything on the floor better than you, and only thing you do is score better than me, that means I am better than you. Would you guys agree with that?
100%.
Say it.
That's a trap.
Say that again. Say that again
That's
for
a
me
trap.
one more
It's a
time.
trap, Wayne. It's a trap. You should
Say that again for me one more time.
If I do everything on the floor better than you, and the only thing you do better than me is score the ball, the person that does everything better than you, is better than you.
Jack of all trades is the master of none.
So somebody said that.
That's not entirely true.
Hold on. Somebody said that in saying Pippen was better than Michael Jordan. Wayne, do you still agree?
See? Like I said.
I don't agree because I don't think that Pippen does everything on the floor better except score the ball. I think Michael Jordan was a better defender than Scottie Pippen. They're both very good defenders, both first team all defense. But I think Jordan was the better defender between the two of them. I think that Jordan was an exceptional passer. I think that he didn't have to pass because Pippen was the point forward, whatever it was. So he was the one who distributed the ball more. But in the games when Pippen wasn't there, Jordan averaged like 7 or 8 assists a game. He could pass. So the idea that Scottie Pippen does everything except score better than Michael Jordan, that's the insane thing.
No.
But I do think that
100%. 100%. And it's just so the reason why I pointed that out is because we're in a time where people will say anything. And I mean anything to defend either side of LeBron being the GOAT or Jordan being the GOAT. And it to me, it's not basketball talk no more. It's just personal feelings. It's just how you guys personally feel. And it's like for you to say Pippen did everything better than Michael, like Wayne just explained to you, he didn't. But for you to say that means that you want anything in the world to discredit Michael Jordan. You want anything that your brain can think of to discredit this man. And that's not fair to the work that he's done. Because you guys do this on the other end too, where it's like if we're bigging up Mike or we're bigging up LeBron, oh, it's a team sport. Oh, rings are a team. You can't have it both ways. You can't tell me Scottie did everything better than Michael, so Scottie was better than Michael. But then on the flip side, it's something else. Like you guys don't know how to stay on one topic or stay inside of the debate. Stay inside what we're talking about. And that's a key, like the key thing with TikTokers is like why I have this segment is because how much you guys move the needle is crazy to me.
Just to fit their narrative.
Just to fit a narrative.
But breaking news. Hold on. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Breaking news. Kyle Kuzma unavailable in trade talks. Washington has informed interested teams that Kuzma is not available to trade at the deadline. So there we go.
I guess they are going to try to re-sign him. But go ahead, Wayne. You was going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, so I do see a lot of the LeBron versus Jordan things. And this almost sounds like when you said a trap, sounds like they're trying to set the whole LeBron thing. You can say, well, isn't LeBron a better version of Pippen? You know, and so you can kind of go that route. But
it was a trap by not telling you the two names of who he was trying to say was better than who.
No, I'll keep it consistent. So for me, I don't have either one of those guys as the GOAT. I think Wilt Chamberlain's the GOAT. But you know, that I have Jordan 2, I have LeBron 3. You know, and I understand the arguments for both of those guys as the GOAT. I understand the argument to make them the GOAT. I just don't have them there. But I think that they're both great players. I've
had to turn his camera on for that one. Because I'm lost too. I'm writing the time.
He had to turn his camera on. He said, "Hold on, wait a minute."
I'm making this one right after the show. Like,
yeah. All right, hey, it's all opinionated, but I would like to hear your argument for why Wilt's the GOAT.
For sure. So my number one thing when it comes to the GOAT discussion, right, is we all have our own GOATs, and there is no wrong answer because it's all just our opinion, right? And we're just using different criteria to come up with that opinion. And the criteria that I use for Wilt is his sheer domination. The fact that nobody dominated like that before him, nobody's come along since then. I mean, the guy retired 50 years ago. He still holds 71 NBA records today. You know, I mean, the guy, it's like Wayne Gretzky, right? We talk about Wayne Gretzky as the best hockey player of all time. And you say, well, if Wayne Gretzky never scored a goal in his entire career, he'd still have more points than anybody in NHL history because he had so many assists. And yet he also scored more goals than anybody in NHL history. Well, that's the kind of domination that Wilt had. You know, I talk to people, I say, you know, you look at his statistics. Here's the craziest one. Aside from the fact that he never fouled out of a basketball game in his entire career, how about the fact that, you know, you look at 30-30 games, you know, 30 points, 30 rebounds, right? Bill Russell's number 2 all time. He had 3 of them in his career. Wilt Chamberlain had 126 of them. You know, I mean, that's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
Yeah,
that's very
the
true.
numbers that he was putting up, but that's not. Do you think he do this today?
So I've said, and I hate to say if, because I call it the if game.
Yeah, the hypotheticals. We don't like to do those.
Yeah, somebody says, oh, well, if Jordan played back then, he'd average 80 or whatever.
Right.
And
LeBron,
I say, and then I say something like, well, if John Havlicek played today, he'd average 100 because you can't prove either one. So, but realistically, I think Wilt would average 30 and 15 today. And when you look at, I think he's the greatest athlete in the history of the NBA, and maybe even the greatest athlete ever.
I don't argue that at all. I feel like Wilt is probably the one that's probably
greatest athlete,
if not the greatest athlete ever.
It's not a lot of arguments to make against it, so I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't either. I like how you explained it, and
absolutely.
I mean, to me though, with the sheer dominance though, like it's just he was clearly the most dominant player, and arguably clearly still is, but it's just tough for me with the fact that he was kind of a loser, quote unquote. Like he didn't win much, but I think that's what really hurts him in the GOAT argument. Like I think if he had 4 titles, I think people would be on that tree that he might be the GOAT.
And I think that's a fair thing. And I think that there are people who use those rings in their arguments. That's why you get a lot of people in the Jordan LeBron thing say, well, 6-0 versus 4-7, right? And for me, I was like, all right, if you're gonna say Wilt because he only had 2 championships, then you can't come at me with LeBron as number 1 because of his record. He was kind of a loser in the finals too, But I just think that despite the 2 championships, for me, rings don't matter. I mean, they do a little bit, but they're more of like a tiebreaker. I mean, if rings matter, Bill Russell's the greatest of all time, and he's not even in my top 15.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because the rings do matter, and then it's like to me the ring, everything matters, right? Let me say that everything matters for me. Like the rings, how you won, everything. So Bill Russell, even though he got the most titles of all time, to me, I factor in the fact that he played on the best team, and largely it's part of him, but you still got Cousy, you still got Havlicek, you still had other Hall of Famers on these teams. Some can argue it was a condensed league, it's only 8 teams, 1 round to get to the finals. It just was an easier path to me than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else played in a more broader league, because Bill Russell said it himself though, but he was saying it in the regards to back his era, like the best of the best played in my time. Like if you were truly the best player in the 60s, you played. I don't know how entirely true that is, but that's how he looks at it. Versus this era with 28 teams, expansion teams, and stuff like that. He like some of these guys are just got a job because it's more opportunity. They're really not as good as they're advertised type deal. I think he told Michael Jordan that. Like, I personally just still think the road was a little bit easier. I don't think the game was at its infancy, so it's hard to judge that too. The game has evolved. They was able to goaltend, things of that nature, things you can't do today. You know what I'm saying? And I just think the game just tougher. Competition is tougher. So it's hard. It's definitely hard. Like you said, I don't have Bill Russell in my top 10, and people think I'm insane for that. He's just not in there.
I think he was basically Dennis Rodman, right? I mean, he's a guy who averaged 14 points per game for his career, 20 rebounds, and he played really great defense. But he played on a team with 8 Hall of Famers at the same time. I mean, you got to talk about super team, right? 8 Hall of Famers on your roster at one time. You know, it's
but the only thing I will fight back with the Hall of Famers is I get why people use Hall of Famers in arguments, but a Hall of Famer is after their career is over. We don't know who's going to be a Hall of Famer because people thought Robert Horry would legitimately be a Hall of Famer, and he is not. Like, so we can't tell. We could think like we know guys like LeBron Bonafide, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But for like a lot of guys, we don't actually know they're going to be Hall of Famers. Who would have thought Casey Jones would have been a Hall of Famer? He was on that Bills Russell team.
Yeah, Tom Heinsohn, right?
It took him 22 years to get in. 22 years after his career. It took him 22 years for Casey Jones. So we don't know who's a Hall of Famer. So when we say, "Oh, he had these many Hall of Famers and he had these many Hall of Famers," I really can't get with that because they're Hall of Famers after their careers. They're not Hall of Famers on what they've done with that one team. They're Hall of Famers on what they did with their whole career.
Right. Well, but my pushback on that is that they're Hall of Famers from the same era that Wilt played in, and he didn't have 8 Hall of Fame teammates. And they played in the same era.
No, that I would give you. That I would give you. But saying he played with Hall of Famers, if you're talking about older guys, yes. But when you use it today in current basketball, it blows my fucking mind. LeBron played with 4 Hall of Famers. How? They still playing. He didn't play with no Hall of Famers shit. Like, and that's just logic for me. It's not my it's just that's how logic comes across to me. But I want to transition because I bring Robert Horry up. Robert Horry had some comments about LeBron James and Kareem, him breaking Kareem's record. So Kareem had a tweet a couple of months ago, I think, where he said, if he keeps up at his consistency, I'll be there to congratulate him if and when he breaks the scoring record. That's what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar tweeted in January 2022. Then Robert Horry was on his podcast and he said that it would be hard. He would have a hard time watching someone break his record. People always say records are made to be broken. That's bullshit. Everybody that says that ain't got no damn records. You don't want your record to be broken. You want to be number one all time in that situation. If someone is about to break my record, you think I'm going to sit in the fucking stands and watch you break my record and be pissed? What do you guys feel about those comments from Robert Horry?
Oh, was it Horry that said that? Or was it Kareem said that?
No, that was Robert Horry said Kareem said that he would be there to watch LeBron break his record. The second two I read was Horry responding to that saying he would not be there to watch somebody break his record.
It's funny that he mentioned that people who say that don't have any records because he doesn't have any records. And so, for me, I wish Robert Horry would shut up sometimes because he also came out and said that they should do a documentary on
him,
rings.
Man. You don't know how much shit that shit sparked when he said that.
But no, I don't think Kareem has an obligation to be there. I think it's nice that Kareem said he would be there because Wilt was there for him when he broke Wilt's record, and him and Wilt didn't like each other at that point. But Wilt still showed up and said, "Hey, congratulations on breaking the record." I like that Kareem said he would do the exact same thing. I think the crazy one here is Robert Horry.
Yeah, why would Kareem have a problem with it? I feel like this is more of a Robert Horry trying to stay relevant thing. Honestly, I'm hearing a lot about him in the news, and I'm confused as. Thank you. I'm confused as to why.
I don't know fucking why.
Like
somebody in the chat was in mind. That's Robert Horry. It's Big Shot Bob. Here's Big Shot. She got Kobe a championship.
I'm just trying to figure out, right? Like, you say you deserve a documentary for whatever reason. I don't believe you, but we're gonna go ahead and let you run with that.
So they can put to the end how much you really contribute to them 7 records.
So they can show that one shot and it's gonna be over. Oh, he made this one shot and with this Lakers,
documentary on
and it's over.
Horry.
Documentary over. Like, well, I don't get it. What are they going to show him? Sitting on the bench for the rest of the? I don't understand what's
Robert
going on.
You want to dispute it? Come on the show.
We can give you a documentary. You can go ahead and talk about your career here on the show, bro. That's your documentary. We can clip it to you. We can record it. And we can send it right to you. But no, first of all, no, you don't need no documentary. Netflix, please don't do that. Second off, I feel like this is just Robert Horry trying to stay relevant. He's making comments, and why would anybody have a problem with seeing somebody that has had so much admiration for the person the record in which they've been chasing? Why would they not want to go see that record finally be broken? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it doesn't seem like Kareem would be on a Robert Horry salty tip to where it's like, oh well, I'm mad somebody's breaking my record. It's like, no, like you said, records are meant to be broken. I feel like you're upset because you don't have any records to break. Like, the thing you're hanging on most is having 7 rings being, I don't even want to call you a role player, bro, because it's like, you know, but I don't know. I just feel like it's just Robert trying to stay relevant because he sees a lot of people getting documentaries and he's like, oh, maybe I deserve one.
I got 7 rings. I definitely deserve something.
Relax, good sir. Relax.
I don't know, Robert.
He's like, Shannon Sharpe's going to get fired, but I see a job opening coming up. Let me run my mouth a little
bit. Right. Shannon Sharpe, you're done. Skip's done. One of them's done. One of their dysfunction over there, but one of them's done. You know, I'm going to fill in for him. Robert, go ahead, Robert, fill in for him. Go get with Echo. I know that's not how you say his name, but that's what I'm going to call him. Go get with Echo and do the speech show with him. You know, you feel me? Tell your side. Go on the pivot. Hey, Brandon Marshall, let him on whatever that your show name is so he can tell his story about how he deserved documentary on those 7 motherfucking plastic ass rings that he got. He was the last one to get a ring, nigga. They didn't call his name to the very last. They called the custodian name before they called Robert Horry's name.
They was calling the equipment manager before they called Robert. Hey, towel boy, come get your ring, bro.
They're giving it to the water boy before Robert got his. They had to put a second order in just to get him his ring because they didn't order it in the first batch.
How many rings did we buy? Oh, then we forgot Robert's. Go ahead and put another order. Hurry up.
He was home alone. That's what he was. He was home alone. Yeah. He was ring alone.
Expedite that order, please. Expedite that order.
Ring alone because they was like, Robert, let me talk to you real quick. I don't think you deserve this ring. I'm on my way to 7. Like, yeah, sure. Yeah, you knew. But you knew. But so yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. I don't think Robert Horry should be opening his mouth. I want to go back to trades real quick because I know Wayne wanted to get to something. So Wayne, I'm gonna turn it to you. What did you want to get to when it comes to like the trade aspect of basketball?
Yeah, well, I was just saying when we were talking about trades and you'd said what kind of trades might come up, and I started looking at the teams, and the big story I think, especially as it affects trades, is Victor Wembanyama, who's going to be the number 1 overall pick, who is the best draft prospect in the last 20 years, maybe the best draft prospect ever. Right? I've seen some scouts saying that he would be the first pick in any draft in history. And, teams aren't going to want to trade, their picks away. And that historically, when we see these players at the deadline get traded, they get traded for first-round picks or second-round picks. And I think second-round, fine. But, I look at a team like Detroit. If they're going to start making trades, like you talked about Bogdanovich, right? If they're going to move him, that's a great move because you're just making a worse team, give you a better chance of that top overall pick. I know that Scoot Henderson's really good, but whoever gets number 2 is kind of getting shafted this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I call Victor Wilmington for me. That's his name. That's how I say his name, Victor Wilmington. That's what I call him. That guy is he's breaking metrics over here. I don't know. Everybody's going crazy for him. So it's something to pay attention to, but I don't know. There's some tanking. We're about to see it. Like the half of the season, that mark is about to hit, and they can't tank the way they used to tank because they got eyes on them. So now they got to play hard first half of the season, and then towards that end, they just drop off the map. And it's like they trade all their pieces. Now I ain't got nobody. You can't find me. I ain't got nobody. What I'm supposed to do? I ain't got nobody. How I'm supposed to win a game? I ain't got nobody. Like the Jazz was like, yeah, I'm gonna go win some games, and the Jazz was like, nah, we too high. Get down. We gonna have too far to fall, and we all the way up here at number 1 at the end, and close to that deadline. We need to fall. The Jazz is like, nah, get it on board, fellas. They went in there and had that talk with the players, like, look, I know you guys want to play hard. I know you want to win games, but I need you to lose.
I think that's what happened with the Spurs too, because remember the Spurs started off hot in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, Pop was like,
hold on, what are y'all doing here?
You guys to lose. You want to be a better team?
Y'all see young Vic Wilbur out there going crazy? Y'all better chill out. Now they 30th in points, 30th in defense, 30th in rebounds. Yeah, Pop got him right. He said, yeah, that's more like it. Don't mess up my stuff, man. Pop knows what he's doing.
Keep it right there. Keep it right there. So it's interesting to
Smart. He
see
knows what
what
he's doing.
teams are going to do for him. Trade. The trade deadline going to be interesting anyway because there's going to be some names that you didn't hear about that's going to move.
Absolutely.
What I want to get to. Are the Kings for real movies? Let's just get to it. Are the Kings for real?
Let's go ahead and get to it. Like I said, I listen to a lot of Sack Kings radio. I listen to a lot of Kings radio. I listen to D-Lo and Casey. Shout out to D-Lo and Casey. I don't know if y'all watching, but if y'all watching, shout out to y'all. Hope I can be on y'all show. Have you come on our show? We can do a collab one day. But when you look and like this, like I said, this is always my biggest problem when it comes to the Kings, when it comes to these young teams, right? When they make big splashes, when they come up and they look promising and they're essentially overachieving, right? You have to do the deep breakdown. You have to go in, watch the film, watch the tape, watch the game, watch how they play, right? When you look at the Kings, and this is what I've always said, they're very, very dynamic in scoring. They can score a lot. They can score in bunches, but rebounds, defense, transition defense, right? Sometimes free throws can come to bite them sometimes. So when you look at that, especially late in games, right? I was watching the game yesterday against the Sixers, and even without Joel playing, no Joel, right? They still had a hard time stopping the scores, right? Because it's like you don't have the defensive prowess to really check these true pure ball handling scores, like just for example, going back from the game last night, right? They started off. It was a really kind of back and forth game because the Sixers don't really play good defense like that either. But when you looked at it, hold on real quick because I got it real quick. Here it is. On Saturday, when you looked at it, you got 32 from Maxey, 17 from Harris, another 17 from Harrell, 14 from Milton, 17 from Niang, and 15 from another 15 from Shake Milton. So it's like you can't let them get that hot like that. And even though they didn't play bad, you had 16 to 10 from Sabonis, 27 from Harrison Barnes, 13 from the rookie Keegan Murray, 31 for Fox, 20 for Herter. But what hurt them is their bench. They got nothing from the bench. It's the consistency, right? They're young. They're inexperienced. They have no real kind. The oldest person and the only real person on the team who is Harrison Barnes. So it's like they have to be able to put together strings of wins, put together strings of defensive stops, put together strings of strong rebounding, right? They have to have, I've always said this, going into a championship run, your second unit is everything. And they have to be consistent, right? Trey Lyles has to be better. Metu has to be better. They honestly have to give Metu more minutes. Monk has to be better. Monk has to be more consistent off the bench. If Sack is going to go deep, Malik Monk is probably going to be one of their key role players in them making a deep playoff push. But they have to be more consistent in getting points and generating points from that second unit, rebounding, transition defense, just playing regular defense and be able to get a stop to the point where now you can get it to your ball handler, you can get it to a Sabonis, you can get it to a De'Aaron Fox. Even if Malik is on the floor and you need a bucket, you can get it to Malik. Davion can maybe hit some good shots, but this is going to be the ultimate test. I've been saying it. When the playoffs get here, this is what we're going to see if the Kings are for real. We're going to see if the Kings are quote unquote back, like everybody's been trying to say. Oh, Kings are back. Kings are back. Light the beam. Kings are back. Right?
They're not. They're not back.
And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. We don't know that. You people can say that because they like the beam chant in the Staples Center and they've been. We have to make sure that they don't get swept in the first round because they're not playing defense and they're not rebounding. Because if that happens, then everybody's going to be like, dang, what? The Kings are over this. The Kings are over that. It's like, no, the Kings are what they were all season. They were just overhyped. So we have to – I think the jury's still out, but like I said, they still have a lot of problems, and I think those problems are really going to shine in the playoffs.
I mean, they only overhyped through the masses in a sense, if that's the case. But I ain't really been hearing crazy talk about them like.
Oh, you're not.
They playing well.
You're not.
Because again, even though Sabonis is having what you would call a top 10, he's playing like a top 10 player at the moment.
Absolutely.
I don't really believe he's a top 10 player.
No arguments with that. No arguments with that at all.
Real playoff run, you need a top 10 player.
Top
He
10.
started off.
What is he? What is he? 10.5? Is he 18 and 12
Nah.
on the season? He's averaging 18 and 12,
That's
19
nice.
and 12.
It's nice, but I'm pretty sure we all can name 10 players.
What's
better
Shaq?
than him.
What is Shaq?
Yeah.
What is Shaq saying about
That
that
don't-
19? What is Shaq saying? I just want to know what. Just tell me what Shaq is saying. If Embiid average 19 and 12,
I don't know, but I know he.
you know what
know-
Shaq
I
saying.
know-
Come on.
I don't know, but I just know at the end of the day, Shaq got an opinion like the rest of us.
No, 100%. I'm just saying, but I value him as a big man and his opinion as understanding what those guys need to do. Because if you look at what Shaq says about them, when they go out there and do what he says, they get what he says they'll get.
In my opinion, great players hold these younger players to standards that they didn't even really truly hold themselves to. It's just what they do.
Yeah, I mean, somewhat I could agree with you.
It's a nitpick to me, like, you know, but it's cool. I get it to a degree.
Now, I don't feel that way when it comes to Shaq though, but I don't want to get on topic.
I do, but it's
I don't wanna get
it's
on
cool. Again, it's his opinion. But
Yeah.
in my opinion, Sabonis is having a top 10 type season. Like, but I just don't think he's truly a top 10 player in this league. Like, for one, I would have to see it again, and he'd have to like win this first round of the playoffs, which I don't think he's gonna do. I think they will lose in the first round against whoever they play, because they're probably going to play a veteran type team that's going to know how to beat them. That's just the reality. They are.
I just feel like they're going to run into a team that's going to be able to score as much as them, and they're not going to be able to get the stop that they're going to need. And
Just
that team
imagine
that
if
they
they had to
score
play the
is going to be able to
Lakers.
get that
If
stop.
they had to play the Lakers in the first round, they're going to lose.
With the healthy Anthony Davis, absolutely.
They're going to lose.
Absolutely.
I think they're going to lose no matter who they play. And like I said, it's because it has to do with effort on the defensive end of the ball. You're going to get shut down by a defensive team, and most teams play better defense than them. They play basketball like I play basketball, right? And not to insult myself, but I've always said that I play good defense if I outscore the guy I'm guarding. So if I score 31 and he scores 27, I played good defense because I outscored him, right? And if everybody outscores the guy they're guarding, then we're going to win every game.
Yeah.
Right? But what's going to happen when I play against the guy who actually locks me down and I only score 12 and I give up 27, right? Now we're toast because now you're not getting that. So that's what's going to happen to these guys. They're going to play a team that's going to shut them down, and they're not going to be able to shut that team down because they don't know how to play defense.
There it is.
And Sabonis is listed as a power forward this season. I couldn't find him in centers, so I went to power
He
forward.
mostly been a power forward his whole career.
I was just saying his whole career.
He's a top 7 right now in power forward. So I don't know if you equate that at top 10.
He's what? Top 7 in the power forwards?
Yeah, in power forward.
Nah, right now it's hard to say any power forward other than Giannis and maybe Siakam.
Giannis, KD, Siakam,
Okay.
Larry Marketing, Randall.
I don't think Marketing playing better than him though.
He's averaging more than him. 28, 20.
He's averaging more points.
24.
That's it. More points. That's it.
Yeah, because Sabonis is leading rebounder and assists.
Yeah, 24, 8.
But Sabonis is everything else on the floor better, which makes him the better player. We already talked about this, right?
Yeah.
That's when that argument applies right there with them. Like, with players like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I'll say Giannis, KD, Siakam.
Yeah,
and then maybe Sabonis, yeah.
Right there, them 3 players right there, them power forwards. Like,
absolutely.
To be top 10 though in the league, you would probably have to tell me he's clearly the second best power forward in the league.
No.
I can't say that.
No, you can't say that at all.
So that's why I say, like, to me, the Kings are in no man's land in a sense. Like, they don't have a top 10 player. They're young, and of course, they don't play any defense.
Yeah, and
so,
I'll say this, like I said about the Jazz, they're a young team and they're a good team. They mesh well together, but I just don't think it's a recipe for success at the end of the day. I think you're going to win a lot of games in the regular season. You're going to look great, but it's not a recipe for a championship. So,
all right, I got a question for you fellas. Who is the best Robin? Meaning second option, right, Bua?
Yeah.
Okay. Best second option in the league right now.
So I looked at this from 2 angles, right? I looked at is who do I think is the best second guy, and then who do I think is having the best second guy season, right? Because to me, it's not the same. So the best season right now for a Robin to me is Jaylen Brown.
That's what I was.
And I love Jaylen Brown, and he's fantastic. I think it's a no-brainer. But I think that the best Robin in terms of like total skill set, the whole package, is James Harden.
See, I like that Jaylen Brown pick. I would go a different route, and I would say, as far as like a best, maybe like a Robin, if you want to classify him as that, would be Kyrie in my book, because he has a KD. That's obviously the Batman. But when Kyrie Kyrie's a you can call him a 1A, you can call him a Robin, you can call him whatever you want. But as far as scoring, as far as somebody that can, I'm saying, kind of, I don't want to say carry a team, but be that Robin or be that true second option, you can definitely say Kyrie. But I do like that Jaylen Brown pick a lot. I think that's probably my first option right there.
Boo, I want to say something.
I like what both of y'all said, because on one end,
you back. You good. No, you good now. You good now. Then you froze again.
On one end, I like to say that it's Jaylen Brown. I'm froze. I'm good with it.
Nah, you good again. You good again. This nigga froze again.
I don't want to start.
Nah, you good, boo. I just talk, bro. You just keep freezing every time you go to talk. You freeze, bro. That shit's funny, bro. I'm not the only one seeing this, right?
Nah, I definitely see it.
All right. I just want to make sure I'm not crazy. Like, now he's sitting there smiling, acting like he frozen and shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's actually frozen now. Oh, there he goes.
You good. You good. Yeah, you good. Go ahead.
All right. I'm just saying, like, I like both of y'all answers. I personally think Jaylen Brown is having the best number 2 type season. But in terms of skill set, I do probably agree that Kyrie is a guy that I think could win a game more than, anybody else at the moment, like as the number 2. Well, you know what? I'm going to be nasty. Because when healthy, when healthy, AD is probably the best player on the Lakers. So LeBron can be in that conversation as well.
Oh boy,
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all.
I mean, he can be in that conversation, but I would say
not mad at that at all.
I would say LeBron.
So it's hypothetical, okay?
Yeah, but LeBron has mostly.
It's an if. Yeah, it's an if.
He's been mostly the one this year, though. That due to AD kind of being injured or whatever, and so again, I would have to say Jaylen Brown, but if push came to shove, like in the playoffs, I don't know. Kyrie might be a little bit more deadlier. He's proven to be one of the scariest number 2s in NBA history. He's proven that already.
Yeah, I think that I've gone and said the 2 hot takes I have regarding the Robins, and you just had a little bit of one there. I think with LeBron being the Robin when AD is healthy. My hot take is I think that Jaylen Brown is actually better than Jason Tatum. I just think, I think he's the better player. He plays better defense. I mean, that's undebatable. And then I think as an all around player, I mean, Tatum, he just pulls up and shoots a lot. I think he makes a lot of bad decisions. I think Jaylen Brown's the smarter player on the floor. I just think, I don't know. I've always felt Jaylen Brown was the better of the 2 ever since they were both rookies, or ever since, since their rookie seasons. And then my other hot take on that is that I think that Klay Thompson is actually an MVP on any other team, besides the Warriors, because I think playing Robin to Steph Curry, I think you put, somebody like Klay Thompson on like the Wizards, we were talking about Kuzma. I think Klay Thompson wins the MVP.
Those takes was hot.
Absolutely.
Spicy. They hot, all right. They hot, all right. I'm taking timestamps.
Absolutely, I like it. Hey, I like it.
I'm taking timestamps. It's so hot, I got to write it down.
Write it down, Jesus.
Okay. Another question is,
go ahead, Trey.
Who is the best team in the league right now? And if anybody else says any other team besides Boston, I'm going to kick you off the screen.
I don't know, man.
I mean, there's not much incentive to say anyone other than Boston. I don't want to get kicked off, but I think the 76ers.
I mean, we almost beat y'all the other night, but I'm not gonna say nothing because we almost don't count only in horseshoes. So
Y'all was beating us. We came back to win.
you
Stop
did.
it.
That's why I said I ain't gonna
Stop
say
it.
nothing. Troy, leave me alone. I wasn't gonna say nothing. Leave me alone. I watched the
Wayne
game.
said the 76ers. I want to know how.
Okay. So I love Boston, and Boston's got the core from last year, right? And I think that they're a very good team. I don't like the coach. I wish they still had Ime Okuda. I think we should still be there. I don't know how much I trust this coach in the playoffs. I trust Doc Rivers in the playoffs. We've seen him do it. I love the 76ers roster. And I think that, and this is, again, another hot take, I think that Joel Embiid is the best big man I've ever seen.
No, Joel Embiid is the best big man. I'm with you there.
Yeah,
he said he ever seen.
Never seen.
No, that's why I stopped mine. I stopped mine.
Yeah, he's
not ever seen, but I think he's the best big man in the game today.
Right now, yeah.
I mean, he's incredible. He there's nothing he can't do. It's just again when we talk about effort with him. Sometimes he feels like playing, sometimes he doesn't. When he feels like playing, he can put up 47 and 22. You know, it's just he doesn't always feel that way. But I think with him, James Harden was a scoring champion and an MVP, right? And you got him as your Robin. I mean, those two guys alone. But then you bring in Harris and Maxey. That team's loaded, and I think they're well coached. I think that's the team that's going to go to the finals for the East.
Lord, that's a spicy take too. Jesus Christ.
That's spicy.
Oh, that's a spicy take.
I mean, but I said it at the beginning of the season, did I not? I did say that.
I
Joel can play the way he's been playing.
Sure.
I think they can probably make that splash to the finals.
See, I don't even think the 76ers get past a healthy Nets. I'm sorry. That's just me. That's just me. If they come up against the Heat again, the Heat gonna spank them again. I don't even believe in the Heat this season. But
it's
I don't know about that one.
The Heat got their number.
It's more so for me, Embiid, but it's just what you said about him. He plays when he wants to. Like, I can't trust that. I cannot trust that. Like, I need somebody I know that's going to give it the Giannis effort every night. I need that in my best players. I cannot trust Joel Embiid deciding one game he wants to go up for 47 and 20, then the next, I'm giving you 27. Like, I cannot trust that. And we all know James Harden woes in the playoffs. Another guy, fantastic in the regular season. But
that's a good point.
He just turns it down in the playoffs. And I cannot trust that enough to ever, like, truly say that this team is going to the finals. I will give them contenders because they are that good to say that they are contenders. But to say they're going to the finals, I can't see it. It's like Troy said. I believe if Kevin Durant is healthy, they lose to
Nets. Yeah, they lose to the Nets. I'm sorry. I respect it, Wayne, but I'm sorry. They're not. I even think I'm gonna give you a spicy one. If the 76ers play the Cavs in the playoffs, I think the Cavs beat them.
Now, the best big man you've ever seen is crazy though to me. Like you just said Will's the GOAT.
Yeah, I know. Well, I never saw Will play.
Why not Denver being the best team now?
So for me, like I said, it's more comparing him against like Shaq. Shaq was the best I'd ever seen, really. Olajuwon, Robinson, right? And I think Embiid's better than all those guys in terms of his skill set, right? In terms of, I'm not saying like career-wise. Obviously, they have way better careers.
I grabbed the pen. I was about to write the timestamp.
No, I'm saying in terms of the fact that you look at his post-up moves,
is it better than
are phenomenal. Great down the post, and then he can step out and drop threes. I mean, none of them could. Not one of them could do that. You know, he crosses people over. None of them could do that.
But no, Hakeem could.
I didn't really see him do it a lot though.
But he did though. Like Hakeem game was nasty. Like he was. Embiid is like the version of he's like Hakeem for the most part. Like the post moves, the dream shake, all that stuff. Like Hakeem would literally break down big men. Like they were falling off their dream shake. Like that's a crossover to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he had it all. Like as a big man. Now does Joel have the advantage of 20 years of the game changing, evolving, and doing different things as big man that Hakeem probably wouldn't have done in his era? Yeah. But if you asking me, because I think Hakeem, if he was forced to shoot threes in this era, he could do it because he had an 18 to 20 foot jump shot easily.
Mm-hmm. 18 to 20 is different than 23, though. I mean, it just is. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is like, you know, we'll see games where Embiid knocks down 6 threes, 7 threes. We never saw games from the 90s big men that would do that.
They just didn't do it though. Like that don't mean you don't have a skill set though, because you just didn't do it because it just wasn't really heard of for big men to shoot threes like that. It wasn't heard of. So I'm just looking at Hakeem. I'm not saying David Robinson can shoot threes. I'm saying Hakeem. I thought that he's a guy if because now you're practicing the shot because you see that you got to as a big man in the sense you got to kind of shoot these shots. So I think he would be able to, if push came to shove, make threes. I'm not saying he would make 6 or anything like that, but I think he would be able to make threes. Again, defensively is where I don't see no comparison for Joel Embiid. He's not the same caliber of defender at all. Like on no level. Hakeem is the greatest defender, in my opinion, of all time. Like
I don't argue. I like that. I mean, as far as big men, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that either.
Yeah, I mean, I love Joel Embiid too, though. Like, but I think, I mean, Troy know my thoughts on this. Like, I just don't see how you can realistically say he's better than Jokic still. Like, because of the effort too. That's the thing. Like, I need to see this guy truly do this in the playoffs. Then I'll be done with it. I'll leave him alone.
Leading the league in
A guy like that should have been to a conference final by now.
Yeah, 100%. But he's leading the league in scoring, so I mean, he could score the ball 100%. But I'm with you guys. He definitely got to show more effort and definitely step up in the playoffs. But I think one thing, I'm with you. I do think Embiid is the best center in the game, but that's as far as I would go. But I do think he takes. That's why I said when we talked about that series against Atlanta, like you guys can say Embiid scored all them points, but he made mistakes in that series too. That key mistakes and key moments that hurt the team. So it's like when you're looking for blame, you got to blame something on him too, and that's what I think Buap is alluding to now. It's like you gotta look at him as a whole. So I don't agree with you, Wayne, that he's the best ever you ever. But that's your eyes. I don't know what you've seen. I can't speak for your eyes, so I can respect it, but I do disagree.
Right, and I'm just talking again as far as like the base skill set, right? Because it's
Palmer said Embiid is not it.
Just because
I hear you though, Wayne. Though, like far as the base skill sets, like he's very talented, truly is.
It reminds me. Like I've always told people, I said that the most versatile scorer I've ever seen was Carmelo Anthony, in terms that he could score anyway, in the post, from 3, mid range, off the dribble, everything. He could score anyway. I've never seen anybody who could score in as many ways as he could. That's not to say he's the best scorer ever, right? I mean, obviously,
you don't think Kobe Bryant can score in more ways than Carmelo Anthony?
No, I don't think. And I love Kobe's game a lot, but I don't think that Kobe was as good a pure shooter. And that would be evidence in their shooting percentages.
You just talking about catch and shoot?
I'm just saying pure shooter. Yeah, catch and shoot, spot up shots, long range. Kobe wasn't a great 3-point shooter. He would have runs. He would go on hot streaks, but Carmelo was a legit pure shooter, like a JJ Redick kind of shooter.
What
I can understand
other than the eye test, what numbers can you use to back that up?
Other than what?
Like the eye test, because again, like I don't think it's no field goal percentage that would suggest that Carmelo's a better pure shooter than Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, I guess I would have to look into probably those advanced statistics when they show you what people shoot from like 12 to 15, what they shoot from 15 to 18. I haven't really gone into that. I'm just saying I'm quoting it based on the eye test, but I would have to go and I'm sure they have those statistics somewhere. I just didn't go into it in preparation for this. I wasn't expecting to, defend Carmelo.
No, I understand that too. I get that too, but I'm just saying because like I wasn't trying to come at you or nothing like that. I was just saying because to me, Kobe is the most skilled offensive player, like far as scoring the ball. Like it wasn't a shot that Kobe didn't practice, didn't try to do, like, and did do essentially. Melo to me is very versatile, like you said. He can get it done anywhere. I just can't say like he has more moves than Kobe Bryant. Like I just can't see it. I don't think he has more moves than Kyrie Irving.
All right, different moves.
In terms of bag, that's what we're talking about, right? Versatile, right?
Yeah, I'd say he's more versatile than Kyrie. Yeah,
finishing
because we're talking because we have to look at back to the basket. I mean, is Kyrie better back to the basket than Melo was?
No, but Kyrie's he does it though. Like Kyrie can play in the post. He plays down there and got moves down there. But no, he's not better than Carmelo because Carmelo's just a bigger, more stronger player down there, and that's where he truly, operates in the post. But I'm talking about like finishing. Kyrie got him.
Oh
3-point
yeah.
shooting. Kyrie got him. Like he got him. Handle like shot creating. Like Kyrie got him on every level as far as a score. Other than Carmelo can go down in the post and shoot better than him.
Okay.
So I get you though. I don't have a problem. I think Carmelo is a guy that's underappreciated too in the history of the game. Like, because again, everybody's not gonna win, but that don't mean you can't give a guy his flowers. Carmelo is clearly one of the greatest scorers to ever play the game. Clearly,
I agree. But let's get into what we came here for. Last topic of the day. Ooh, so everybody watched that Lakers versus Grizzly game.
Absolutely. That's probably the one time
saw,
during the season I rooted for the Lakers. I'm like, one time you ever gonna see me root for the Lakers.
Everybody saw Hollywood's Malice in the Palace. Right? It was a little Hollywood. Shannon Sharpe got into it with some players. I think it was Dylan Brooks, right? Who got into, or Desmond Bain?
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks got into it, some words back forth. Then John Morant's father, right?
Yep, Dylan Brooks, John Morant, and then John Morant.
Yeah,
T. Morant. If you're watching this, shout out to you.
And you hear some little snippets and audio clips from him. And Shannon Sharpe telling them, "You
I bet you won't. I bet you won't. I bet you won't."
Shannon Sharpe was like, "Nah, you check what color I am out there. I'll beat your ass. Right? I'll beat your ass."
I bet you won't. I'm finna get that.
So I want to start there. What do you guys think about the incident that happened itself? Do you think both of them should be thrown out? Do you think it was pushed too far? Do you think it's just entertainment? What are you guys' thoughts on it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked it a whole lot. Well, I think it's just like there are far too many instances where the fans, I guess you can call Shannon a fan at that time. He's not a regular fan, but he's a fan. He's at a game. He paid his ticket to get inside. So at that point, he's a fan. I think you get into situations where fans and players kind of interact. That's the kind of thing about a basketball game to where it's closer to where you can hear what these fans are saying, especially if they're sitting in the front row, right? I think they both definitely took it further than it needed to go. But I think one thing people have to understand is that although these are athletes of high caliber, well-known people, these are humans. These are humans. They're men first. So regardless of what Shannon said, you know what I'm saying? Like he said his words were verbatim. You're too small to guard Bron, whatever the case may be. And if Dylan Brooks got in his feelings or felt some type of way about that, yelling obscenities to somebody, even though yes they are a fan, but like I said, they're not a regular fan. That's not a regular fan. It's not like somebody who's just who's just attending. Like that's a celebrity. That's somebody who's on television on a daily basis, right? That's somebody who's played football. That's somebody who's a Hall of Famer. Right, somebody who's a champion. So I'm not saying you have to, it comes with a certain respect, but it comes with a certain respect, right? Like he's at the game, you're gonna get heckled. You're a basketball player. He's an athlete. He's been heckled. Shannon Sharpe has been known. I call him one of the greatest trash talkers in not only NFL history but sports history, just because he knows how to get under people's skin. But if you're gonna yell obscenities to a certain person, pick your battles, because when that person calls you out, don't be surprised when they stand their ground. And that's exactly what happened. Like a whole bunch of, there's a whole bunch of think pieces on social media, but Shannon Sharpe is not one of these regular type of people. He's not one of these regular fans. So if you say something to him, although, yeah, he's talking to you, if you say something that he may find disrespectful, which if you know people from the South, they do take disrespect a little differently, right? You can't just say anything to people from the South because they take it a little differently. So, and whatever you said to him, he may have took exception to it, and which is why the situation, I guess, went AWOL, right? But it's not. You can't talk to these celebrity fans like they're regular fans because they're not regular people, and these are the type of people that you may see in the sports world at another time in which cameras aren't rolling or it's another situation, and then now, it's not so public and things may happen. So, because me personally, I feel like if they would have just ran into the street and it was just talking, and he would have got beat up that day. Yeah, Dylan Brooks would have got beat up that day for sure.
Like, he just disrespect LeBron a week before this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like,
he said, what he calls Shannon Sharpe a blogger.
We call him a blogger, some stuff like that. Funny. I mean, I thought it was funny.
But when players do that, they know exactly who the person is. Like when they do that,
they know exactly
like Palmer, when they do that, Palmer, they know exactly who he is. They know exactly what his standard is, exactly what he is, where he stands. Like they know. The one thing I would say is I like from it that Shannon Sharpe stood his ground. Like when Adams went up to him, he didn't really take it. He took like a little mini step back just to like break. Like, yo, if you coming, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Like. If you coming, let's go. Like, and that's what I like for it. But I want to shift it. And Wayne, you could put them both together. How you liked it and what you thought about. Shannon Sharpe apologized. And I know Fox made him do it. Fuck you, Fox. Making him apologize. Should let him stood his ground. Wow, I'm crazy because I said fuck Fox.
There go our endorsement, Shorty.
Hey, I don't want no endorsement from them. They making niggas apologize. I'm not apologizing. I said what I said. You want the smoke? Come get it.
You know I got your back, baby.
I know. We're on the same page. But I'm just saying you don't make a man apologize. Now is T Grizzly gonna T Morant gonna go apologize? Is John Morant gonna say some apologies? What about Dylan Brooks? You gonna make this one man? I don't like that shit, Fox. But Wayne, what did you feel about the situation? Both the antics and the apology.
Right. So I look at it from two standpoints. One is faceless crowd, faceless players, and just the situation, right? And as far as the situation, I think that as a fan, you essentially are allowed to say anything that you want, right? And I think that we should keep it respectful, but it's not the way that things are in the world. So as a fan, say whatever you want, okay? Don't throw anything on the court, right? No throwing popcorn and water bottles and stuff. You're not part of the game, but say anything that you want. Now, as a player, say anything that you want back to the fan. I have no problem with that. If Leo is heckling you at the Lakers game, say, hey, Titanic sucked, right? Like, I don't have a problem with that. So I don't have a problem with heckling. Where it started to get escalated, I think one of them needed to be a grown-up, and neither of them was, because they both just wanted to act like little kids and get into this whole thing. Somebody's got to be like, all right, this is getting a little ridiculous. We were just calling each other names. Chill out. Somebody has to say chill out, but neither of them was saying it. So that's the way I look at it. They both acted juvenile.
But do you think, not to cut you off, do you think Shannon Sharpe wasn't the bigger man because that same player disrespected LeBron a week before that? And Shannon Sharpe's and LeBron is tight. Don't forget that.
Well, I don't care how tight they are. I mean,
LeBron walked up to him after the game when he let him back in. It was like, you always got my back, bro.
Yeah. Well, and I have issues with LeBron as it is. But my whole thing with Shannon Sharpe is just, let's put a face on it now. We're going to put Shannon Sharpe's face on it, right? Now, this was it a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, after the whole him getting on Skip about the Buffalo Bills tweet, right? And Skip didn't even say anything wrong on the tweet. He was saying like, hey, this seems bigger than football, but I don't know how they're going to cancel this game and make it up. That's all he was saying. And Shannon lost his mind about it. And then we have this situation happen. And then right after the situation, Shannon tweets, I wanted that smoke. I wanted them to bring it to me. I'm like, somebody needs to check him for CTE. Like the CTE is kicking in. Like he's got problems. Like they need to check him out.
Who up anything to add?
That's funny though, the CTE. I don't think that's the CTE. I think that's caught in the moment of the times that we're living in. Like everything is about clout and you know what I'm saying, being the next tweet, being the next trending topic. Like you said, they were being childish. Like Dylan Brooks was mic'd up that game. So it was a lot to me. Like
that's why I thought it was a setup too.
It was a lot of bullshit to me.
I thought it was like a little setup.
Everybody know how Shannon feels about LeBron. And I think Dylan Brooks can say whatever the fuck he want to say about LeBron. Like, he's a basketball player that got to guard him. Like, he's entitled to his own opinion. Like, even if we can deem it disrespectful, like, he's entitled to his own opinion of how you feel about LeBron. It doesn't matter. So, for Shannon just was poking at him. And I think, like Wayne said, like, as a fan, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to say, hey, you too small to guard Brown. So, and that's all part of it. Like, he could have lived with that. I would have laughed that off if I was Dylan Brooks. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I would have laughed that off. Like, all right, whatever.
But do you think, Buwab, not to cut you off, but staying with you, Buwab, do you think that it goes into what the persona or the way that the Grizzlies are showing themselves? Like, they're showing themselves to be this disrespectful, trash-talking team that says whatever the fuck they want to say. Because they did it to LeBron a week ago, and now they come in, Shannon Sharpe said something, and now they're doing it to Shannon Sharpe. Because he was saying some shit back to Shannon Sharpe that I don't think was probably, like, appropriate or Shannon Sharpe took issue with.
I have no problem with the way that the Memphis Grizzlies talk they shit. I have no problem with it. I think that's a healthy mindset to have. Like, if you want to win a title, that we don't give a fuck who we play.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have that mentality. Like, that don't mean you're going to win, but I think you need that mentality, honestly. Like, I don't know how else you truly are going to win a title if you don't think you can beat anyone in the world. Because you might play anyone. You don't know who you're going to play, so the safe answer is we can beat anybody on any court at
but
any time.
I think there's a difference from them feeling like they could beat anybody to LeBron being visibly mad of something that one of them said to him. And he's saying, nah, that's not hooping. Now you talking shit.
Well, then LeBron needs to grow up.
Yeah.
Well, you can say that, but what you every man has his limit. Every man has his limit. We cannot sit up here and act like we don't have a limit. And we have heard Williams pop back in. William, we about to end too, but I thought you were up on the screen. We have heard KG disrespect the shit out of Melo, right? We have heard this. We have. To Melo, that was crossing the line, right? To somebody else, maybe they wouldn't have gave a fuck. So we can't sit and say that LeBron needs to grow up when what Dylan could have said to him maybe was crossing, because you could visibly see LeBron was pissed off. You could visibly see it, that he was pissed off at whatever and it wasn't like he said it to him once. He kept repeating it to him. And LeBron was like, yo, that's the last fucking time you're going to say that to me.
Of course he kept repeating it. If you see it's getting to somebody, you keep saying it over and over.
But if
he got in his head.
100%, you can say that. But if it's crossing a line, like I said, every man has his line.
Every man's got his limits. That's true.
Every man has his line, and we can't tell him where to put his line in.
I can say grow up, because listen, grown-up men have lines that are way down the road. I don't have a line, believe it or not. I don't have one. People can say anything to me. In fact, I'm usually the one that starts fights with my mouth, and then I hide behind a big guy. But like, this is my thing, is like, I won't fight. But like, you can say anything to me, like nothing rattles me. Nothing, no matter how personal it is. I mean, I told somebody, I said, I guess deep dive in our personal life, but like my mom died of cancer when she was 50 years old, right? But like if I'm playing basketball and somebody's like, dude, like, your mom died because she was weak or something like that, right? Like, I'd probably laugh. Like, that's something that.
But that's what I'm saying. But that was my original point. Just because your line isn't there doesn't mean somebody else's line isn't there.
As a professional athlete, it has to be.
But he's human too.
You can't say that.
You can't just look at him as a professional athlete. You have to look at him as a human. We all fucking have outbursts. We all have bad days. They do too. We can't just look at these guys as like, oh, they're on a professional level. They get paid all these millions of dollars to do this. Too. They chose that route. We didn't. They chose to go that route where they could make millions of dollars to do that job that they do, which is play a sport 100%. But we can't then start defining what they can do within that millions of dollars that they make. Well, that's not right for us to do.
They chose a job where people are going to try to rattle them.
Right, but and that's
you
fine.
Can rattle somebody without being
oh, you could be rattled all over the place, and anybody can say whatever they want to you. Like,
you know what though? The thing that pissed me off about the whole situation, Memphis talking all this trash and they still lost the game.
And that's kind of to kind of speak on that point to where Troy was going. It's like, you guys can talk all the stuff you want, but if it's not transitioning to success, what are you talking about? Like
That's why
you
I'm not.
talking a lot
That's not. I'm not.
for no reason.
That's why I'm not really a big, huge Memphis guy, because they got all the talent in the world. Don't get me wrong. They got all the talent in the world. They're a deep team. All the talent in the world. They're well coached. But the problem is they don't. They talk too much trash, and at some point it can become counterproductive, because you're giving the other team fuel for fire, and that team should not lose to the LA Lakers. They shouldn't.
But that's what they did to LeBron. What, a couple of games before that game,
Yep.
they did it to LeBron. They fucking
Yep.
said, and that's what I'm saying. LeBron to get visibly, I know he's a crybaby, and there are a lot of people that, but for him to get that visibly mad, where he wasn't even playing ball no more, he was just sitting there telling them, "You're not gonna keep disrespecting me."
Yeah,
like,
and
to that point,
that's
and
why I don't like Memphis, man.
I'm a ball player. To that point, bro, you're not playing ball no more. Like, you can trash talk me all you want. But at the moment KG told Mello, your wife tastes like Cheerios, that was his line. That was his line. Nah, nigga, you got to come off the bus.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You
And
got to
honestly,
come off the bus.
This is the thing about trash talk, right? Because like I said, I still play football to this day. I play semi-pro. We don't get paid to play semi-pro. Trash talk is our payment. This is what we do, right? We have a whole group page dedicated to trash talk after we win to lose games, right? If you're going to talk about my game, if you're going to talk about how I play, bet I have no problems with that, right? But the moment you bring in anything else, the moment you cross that line of respect, because I don't care, this may be different for other people, but me personally, I have lines of respect. You know what I'm saying? As a man and as a person.
The moment you
know
start talking about my family,
the moment the moment you cross that line of respect,
right?
Sports are out of the question now. Now we're having a whole different kind of conversation. We're not talking about sports. We're not talking about my game. You're not talking about what I do good or what I do bad. You're talking about things that are irrelevant to the situation.
But Wayne, it's all because of one thing. It's all because of one thing. It's because of respect. All we want is respect. As a man, we respect you, you respect me. If I'm not going crazy at you like that, if I started this shit, then yeah, come crazy back at me. But if I'm just talking to you basketball and nigga, you suck, make a shot, blah, blah, then nah, I don't want to hear you fucking telling me my wife tastes like this, or my kids this, or my wife that. Like, nah, I'm gonna do what Chris Paul and them did. I'm gonna find the secret tunnel in your locker room, and I'm gonna run in that bitch and start swinging. That's that's just me.
Like I said, I'm
not way too good on the bus. I'm gonna find the damn secret tunnel right then and there. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna be like, it's
a lot of people
have find it.
A lot of people have their lines of respect. A lot of people have their lines of disrespect. Wayne, like you said, people can bring up the fact about your mom. And that won't bother you, but like there are other.
I agree with that comment, by the way.
There are other people out there that
about Dylan Brooks.
Different feelings about different situations that have different trigger points. Like me being a part psychology major, the mind is a very tricky thing, right? Not everybody responds to things at the same rate or the same way. So what's cool for you may not be cool for somebody else. So like for something to be said for somebody else, that may have triggered them in a way that they're not going to respond in that kind of way because of that. So like I can understand that point. Like even if somebody wants to say something and people don't necessarily get upset in that moment, but then come back later and are visibly upset because of what they said, the other person said finally resonated. I can understand that point too. It's just understanding who you're talking to, understanding the people that you're around, and understanding how to say things, right? Like you have to, if you're going to say something disrespectful, then if they come at you for it, if they come at you for it, the consequences, you damn sure better stand on it.
Yeah, because
don't try to moonwalk, because now you've said it. You've already opened that gate. You've opened those floodgates. There's no going back from that now.
Like,
and
there's a lot of people out there, that say, "Hey, we have freedom of speech." Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence.
It's not a get out of
jail free card. No.
And this is the biggest thing right here. This is the biggest thing right here, guys. This is the biggest thing right here, guys. In a lot of these situations, a lot of things can be said, but people have to remember there are a lot of things that you can't come back from that you say. So if you were to issue something and say something that was disrespectful to that person, and even though they may have came back to you, it was just the heat of the moment, we were talking sports, blah, 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 that whatever was said may sit with them. And they may not rock together, but they may not be the same kind of energy.
Coleman too, my friend. Derek Coleman too.
Just because of what was said. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't have to get violent, it doesn't have to get, but they can take that disrespect and put it up here and be like, okay, well, if that's how we're gonna be, if that's how you're gonna address me, or if that's how you're gonna address me, or come at me, or come at my family in a competition setting, then I don't want to have nothing to do with that kind of person, because I know the kind of person I know the type of person that he is when we get in certain kind of settings, and I don't want to be around him. So things that can be said, even though they don't lead to fights, can lead to disparaged relationships in the future. So when you want to work with this person, when you need this person for a shout out, when you need to work with this person for a collab, so on and so forth. It's like when somebody reaches out to that person, what are they going to say about your character? That's the biggest thing for me, is character, right? You can sit up there and play the game of basketball and be great at the game of basketball and all this other kind of stuff. But if people are talking about your character, oh, the shit that he says on the court, bro, like I don't rock with that. You know what I'm saying? It's like other people may not find that disrespect, but it's like a lot of people will sit up there and they'll bring that up. That's the reason why a lot of people don't like to work with KG, because of the things that he said on the court. Him and Tim Duncan aren't cool to this day.
They're not
cool to this day for what he said about his mom. And I respected Tim Duncan for that. Hey,
that threshold, Wayne.
He crossed that line, and that plays a really big part, especially in professional relationships. Saying things that you necessarily can't come back from, that may not cause a fight, but are really, really disrespectful, that resonate to somebody. That's really, really big, especially in relationships. So I can definitely understand the point, but they can't cross that line.
Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan are not friends to this day because of what Charles said.
Mm-hmm.
Not friends
Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas.
Not friends to this day.
Talk about Michael Jordan every other day.
I want to hear Wayne's response to what Mulich was saying.
Well, no, because I agree with what you're saying. And like when I took psychology in college, that's what allowed me to move my line to being non-existent, right? Because you learn in psychology that all of our emotional reactions to everything is been trained to react that way.
Oh no,
and
absolutely.
So we can untrain ourselves from reacting that way.
That was what was did, not what was said.
Right.
And so
Yep.
So when I was in college, I went through and I actually untrained all of the emotional responses that I didn't want to have to certain situations. So now I have no line because I've untrained all of that. And I think that, and I'm not a professional athlete, but I think that if I was going into a situation where I know anything can be said to me, especially if you play against a KG, you play against a Michael Jordan who was vicious, right? Larry Bird, was a vicious trash talker, right? You have to know that everything that's being said is being said to intimidate you, and you can't let it. And I felt like LeBron let it. And that's one of the things we talk about LeBron versus Jordan. I just want to go back to is, how many times did we see Jordan lose his cool over somebody trash talking to him? Never. He lost his cool over people clotheslining him and like headbutting him.
Yeah.
But he never lost his cool over trash talk. He just trash talk right back to you, and then he scored 50.
And one time, and that was Reggie Miller. One time, because Reggie Miller really got to him.
I remember that. Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I understand everyone does have a line, but I think LeBron is a little bit uber sensitive. And I think that if you're,
I disagree with you.
I don't disagree with that point about LeBron.
I think if you're going to let something like Dylan Brooks, like who's he, say to you what one of the greatest players of all time is going to rile you, dude, that's just weak to me.
And that's a good point, because these guys haven't won anything yet. Nothing. So the trash talk should be irrelevant. They haven't won anything.
Can I speak on that point real quick? Because Wayne and William, you guys make a really good point about that. It's like after that, I think last year when the Warriors and the Grizzlies played, right?
Whoop that trick.
No, but this is the greatest part though, right? Because you remember they played that whoop that trick previously when they beat the Warriors, right?
They did.
They came back and won game one. Who was the first person that walked up to that huddle right up under the basket with Ja, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, Steph Curry? Walked right up to him, batted them all in the chest, like, come on, guys, it's going to be fun. Let's go. Like, if they're going to talk shit, if they're going to talk about, all this stuff like that, it's like, you can take another road to it. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that what they said wasn't personal. I'm not saying what they said wasn't disrespectful, right? Because they could have said the same things to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, right? Which is probably why Klay acts towards the way he acts towards the Grizzlies and stuff like that.
No, he definitely said some disrespectful shit too.
So I'm just saying, like, you can actually
not everybody reacts the same.
Like, you can go and win in a different way and have that at the end of the day, the moral victory over them and the actual victory over them. Because it's like, not only did we win on the court, but we won in y'all minds. You know what I'm saying? Because now Y'all was doing all that shit talking. Y'all was doing the whip that trick, all that stuff like that, doing the gritty on people's logos. But after we just stole game one, here I am around all of y'all telling y'all, let's go. It's going to be fun. And then we end up winning this series. So like, I can understand your point, Wayne. I was like, okay, well, I'm LeBron James, bro. Like, who the fuck are you? Right? Like, who are you? I'm LeBron, bro.
Champion. I'm a four-time champion.
My guy? Come on, bro.
What you got?
Did 11 times,
Who I
bro.
turned this mic on? I want to hear.
I'm LeBron. You can't say shit to me, so I can understand that point. But I just feel like every single person had that kind of line. And if you're gonna talk about his game, sure. He shouldn't let anybody that's talking about his game get to him because he's LeBron fucking James. Come on now.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. If it was Greek Freak talking trash, would you be mad?
No. I would probably. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'd probably laugh. I'm just saying, just because the way he sounds, and he's so new and acclimated to the league and to America, so he's not really gonna understand. You know what I'm saying? What's a diss or what's a burn or whatever the case may be. So it's gonna sound funny coming out. Like he may say something crazy, but it may sound so funny coming out. You're just gonna laugh at it. So like, or like Joel Embiid, like, kind of the same thing. He's gonna say something crazy, or might say something disrespectful, but it's just like the way it came out. It's just like, dang, you tried, you almost got there, but so close.
Every team needs to have a team meeting at the beginning of the year where they all watch White Men Can't Jump, the very opening basketball scenes, right? When Wesley Snipes is talking to George, and he says, "Your mother's an astronaut," right? And he wants to get into a fight with him, right? And then he starts talking to Billy, right? Calling him Marsha Brady. Right, and Billy's laughing his ass off. He's like, "What do you think's so funny, man?" He goes, "Calling me Brady Bunch and shit. It's funny."
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, be like Billy. Don't be like George.
But I not like I said, I can respect that, but I just don't agree with everybody needs or should be that way. Everybody's their own human in their own right. Everybody deals with their own emotions, their own situations in their own ways. Not every situation, not every outlook, and not everything fits every individual person. So as it might fit you, Wayne, it might not fit the man next to you. You get what I'm saying? So as you can see it that way, the man next to you probably don't see it that way. But I want to definitely pass it to Buwap. So Buwap, you got the floor. I know you wanted to say something.
I mean, honestly, I don't really have a problem with Dylan Brooks did. Like, it's basketball. Like, he's a guy that got to use something, extra to be competitive in a sense. Like, and history tells us that LeBron James is kind of a diva. Like, you can get under his skin a little bit. Like, that's just what it is. And I mean, I just think at this, stage in LeBron's career, he should laugh at that type of stuff. Like, unless I could see it, unless Dylan Brooks truly says something about his family, something that nature, where it's just like, still might be getting blown out of proportion through the media or whatnot, like, because we all know how the media does things. Like, but I can't really see LeBron being that mad unless it was something like personal. Like, I really can't. Like, LeBron should be above that, and clearly we all think he is. And
as far as like what he said to LeBron, it's like, what can he really say? Like, unless he's talking about like, his wife or his daughter, but it's like both of his sons play basketball, and both of his sons play better than freaking Dylan Brooks, in my opinion. So it's like, you can't really say your sons suck at basketball.
He was probably on that. He was probably on his KG shit.
Better than y'all. Like,
he was probably on his KG telling him what his wife tastes like.
And like I say, what has Dylan Brooks done in the league to be concerned with? What has he done?
I don't know.
But that's why LeBron. But that could be another thing too. LeBron could be looking at it like, nigga, do you know who I am?
You talking to me?
Do you know what I accomplish? You talking to me like that?
You talking to me like that? Come on, man.
If that's the case, it shouldn't matter though. Like, LeBron should just feel that. Like, he done said he's the GOAT.
He's
like,
too old now. He's too old.
I would have told him my son play better than you. I just said my son gonna be a higher draft pick than you were.
He is too old. He is not taking all that bullshit.
I'd have told him my son played better than you. How's it feel to know that my son gonna be a higher draft pick than you ever were?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Weak boy. Go sit down somewhere.
I would have just told him there's not one season that you will have that will ever be better than any season I would go.
My son is better than you.
You will never be
better than you right now.
You will never be MVP. Never ever.
Bryce is better than you right now. I'll call my
be MVP. Never.
Like, no,
real quick, I want to say this part too. Shout out to Shannon Sharpe on that apology today.
Nah, I didn't like that.
You didn't
No,
like
not
it?
his apology, but I didn't like that Fox made him apologize. So before you came in,
I got you.
before you
Yeah.
came in, I said fuck Fox. And he
Now,
died.
now,
For
now,
the
now, let me ask you this.
third
Let me ask you this.
time.
Let me ask you this. What
For the
was it
third time.
because? Let me ask you this. If he did it if he did it on his social media, would you accepted it more, or because he had to do it?
Nah, because he already tweeted that he wanted all the smoke. He gotta leave it like that. He wanted the smoke. He wanted the smoke. There ain't no apologizing for wanting the smoke. He wanted the smoke. Leave the man alone. Leave him alone.
You want the smoke? Give him the smoke, man. Shoot.
I mean, he did apologize to everybody. So, but I see your point too.
But yeah, I'm not. Listen, I'm with you, Wade. I mean, they should be able to say whatever they want, but I'm not. They should say whatever they want, but I'm not in the business of saying what should affect them and what doesn't, because a lot of things mentally affect people differently. So, as you said, like your mom died, like I know if I'm playing in the hood where I live, nah, you ain't getting away with that. You ain't getting away with that.
And there's some players who thrive off trash talk. I remember Gary Payton one time saying he talked trash to John Stockton, and it made John Stockton play more.
Yeah.
So, some players he has an opposite effect on.
Yeah, MJ, you talk trash to him, it was over for you. Bird, you talk trash to
And I
Bird,
know,
it was over for you.
Speaking for me personally, because I still, like I said, I still play football. Like if you trash talk me on the field, oh yeah, you better watch. You better have a head on the swivel next play.
Right.
Whether you get the ball or not, I'm running full speed through you. So it's going to happen.
That too.
Bro, it's gonna be in the lines of the play. So but like I said,
that's the deeper
side. Don't be mad when you know what I'm saying. Like don't forget that what you just said. But it's gonna be when the lines in the play. So can't say anything about it.
I don't know. It shouldn't be. It should be just accepted. If you don't talk shit, you finna get this work. Simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron showed them a couple of that game before this last one with the shit and Sharpe, so that you talk shit like you get dunked on. You got Jaren Jack looking like a blender. He looked like he was spinning around in that thing.
Body.
Yep.
He looked like he got twirled up in that thing, Jaren.
Caught that body.
It should have been Dylan, but Dylan knew better. He knew to stay.
I was just say Dylan knew better not to jump.
He saw what happened to Jason Terry. He wasn't stupid.
Stuck on the rim is what I was. Stuck on the net. That's what I call it.
He wasn't stupid. Look, I know
my get dunked on. That means they got stuck on the net. You know what I mean?
Said, what he did to Jason Terry, I do not want to happen to me.
Yeah, LeBron's tough when he's playing good, but when he's playing bad, he's a little bitch.
I mean, he's older now. So, I mean, I agree with you. LeBron does cry like 100%. LeBron, come on the show. We can talk about your tears. Come on the show. We can talk about your tears.
I knew that was going to get booed up.
He's never coming.
Hey, we're going to get Bron on the show.
We know.
We're going to get Bron on the show.
We're going to get Bron.
Bron, if you watching, come on the show. Shout out to Bron, man.
We're going to get Bron on the show. We're going to talk about his tears.
Yeah, Bron on the show. Bronny James. We're going to get a little Bryce on here. Yeah, it's going to be a nice little show.
I want to talk about the flopping. That's what I want to talk about.
All goes into his tears.
Yeah,
all that goes into the tears. All the
tears,
flopping. There's YouTube videos out there on that man just flopping. That's all he doing.
Remember when his teammate threw the elbow, hit him? He was like, on the heat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, come on, man.
Hey, is that your king? This is your king?
This is your king?
This is your king?
Y'all talking about the phantom elbow? The phantom elbow?
Yeah, the phantom elbow.
Yep. Man, that Joker, man.
Yeah, LeBron is an actor.
He learned that.
100%. But he's bad at acting.
But you can't act. So that's the whole part about it. Shout out to you, LeBron.
They said that he had to do that to a degree, I guess, because he truly wasn't getting a lot of foul calls.
Look how big he was.
And I can understand
6'9",
that.
260.
Look how big he was.
But that's not
everything.
260.
And he could play in the 90s.
But how fair is that, though?
Yeah.
He can play in the 80s.
But how fair is that? But yeah, he can still play in them areas.
He ain't getting no calls back then.
The show about ain't.
The refs gonna let him get his ass whipped.
Yep.
But you still gotta hear what he's saying. He's talking about relative to what's going on in the league. There's guys
100%.
that's getting like, you know what I'm
James
saying?
Harden, 100%.
And he feels like he almost get he feels like he gets fouled more than those guys because of the style of basketball.
Yeah, but they let it slide because
I can understand his argument.
big frame.
That's like Cam Newton in the NFL.
That's not fair.
That's
No,
like
it's
Cam,
not. It's not. It's
That's
not
still not
That's
equal.
like
It's
Cam.
not.
That's like
The
Cam Newton
referee's
in the
supposed to
NFL.
call the game based off
Evenly,
of
100%.
how the rules are.
Straight
That's
up,
like
straight down the rack. I got
that's
you,
like Cam Newton in the
but I'm
NFL.
just giving you
Not
the answer to what the question is.
that's like Cam Newton in the NFL not getting calls as far as
Because he was a
unnecessary
bigger body.
roughness.
Yeah,
he
he was
has
a
a
bigger
bigger body.
They was like, yo, you got a bigger body. You can take those
Yeah, but
hits.
Yeah,
but
It's not
Does
you're
it
fair.
saying
suck?
that's
Is it
it's
not
not fair to
fair?
say,
Yes,
but
you
it's
but
true.
you still
unfortunately, it's reality.
right. You bringing
Yeah.
up instances. That's fine. You can bring up where it happened. That don't make it fair.
That
No,
flop
it's
in
not
Boston.
fair at
No,
all.
Come
definitely,
on,
it's definitely
man.
not
And if
fair.
I'm the player getting fouled, and if I'm the player getting hacked, and I feel like that, I'm going to speak on that. I
No,
don't
100%.
have a problem with him doing, and then he don't really speak on. He just do the acting. So like it is what it is.
And
A
it's
lot of these
bad
players
acting.
act. LeBron
It's bad acting.
just
And it's
he
bad
just
acting.
yeah, it's
It's
terrible
bad.
acting.
He couldn't. He
Acting,
can't.
but it is.
He didn't go to the Vlade. He didn't go to the Vlade Divac school of flopping. Let's put it to you like that.
Oh, Dennis Rodman was the best at it.
Oh, Dennis
Yeah.
Rodman was too.
Oh,
Yep,
that's
yep,
true.
yep, yep.
That's true.
That's true.
Dennis
He's a
Rodman
guy
Vlade
who
was
you
good
actually
too.
push.
Yeah,
Vlade
I
was
was gonna
good
say
too.
Dennis Rodman had it down to an art.
Vlade was good too.
I think Kyle Lowry right up
Oh
there.
my god.
I hate
Oh,
Kyle Lowry.
shit.
Too.
Oh
I
yeah,
hate
Kyle Lowry's
Kyle
up there.
Lowry.
He's a
That's
flopper.
absolutely.
I hate
Kyle Lowry's
Kyle Lowry
No
with a
surely up
cap. You're a
there.
passion.
goat for that
Freaking
one.
flopper.
I hate Kyle
Kyle
Lowry
Lowry
with a
is
passion.
surely up
Freaking
there, bro. Kyle Lowry took
Oh,
a
Mike Lowry.
screen, a non-moving
I hate
screen,
him.
and jumped so far off his left foot. I was like, bro,
Nah.
no, he did not.
Ain't
That's
nobody better than Marcus Smart, bro. That nigga flops.
That's
Oh,
true
yeah.
too.
Marcus
He
Smart.
did flop a lot.
He jumped
Marcus
up in
Smart.
the air, have his body
Yeah.
on the ground. He don't care, bro. He playing WWF out here. Like
Yeah, that's
Marcus
true.
Smart
That's
is
true.
not
Yeah,
here.
Marcus Smart is a hell of a flopper. Hell of a
He
Absolutely.
is.
flopper.
He
Hell of a flopper
is.
too.
We're gonna have
He
to
is.
come up with a nice little segment, Troy.
Top
It's the top floppers in the NBA.
Top
Top floppers.
flopper.
Yeah,
See, that
absolutely.
transitions me in. I was gonna do this, but I don't know. It's up to you guys. Buwap said something yesterday in our meeting that I never thought of. Right? He said something about a defensive playmaker. I've never heard nobody say it. Never heard anybody say it. So, Buwap, if you want to explain it, and if you guys want to get into it, we don't got to do a top 5 defensive playmakers, but I just want to hear you guys' opinion on who will be the best defensive playmaker. Buwap.
That's interesting. I've never heard that term.
That can be
Yeah,
a
because
lot of
he
people,
said,
too.
I think he said Dennis Rodman, right, Buwap?
That can be a lot of people too.
I think Buwap said Dennis
Yeah,
Rodman was the
Dennis Rodman is the greatest defensive. Well, I'll say arguably the greatest defensive playmaker of all time.
What do you define as a playmaker?
And like I told Troy, that's what
What's
I'm
the
saying.
criteria?
See,
though?
everybody definition of playmaker. Playmaker is
good, no
simple.
cap. Good, no
A
cap.
guy that
Got
makes
you.
a play.
Okay.
A guy that makes a play.
I mean,
Now, some would be like, well, that's every NBA player. It is for me. It is. Everybody on the court is a playmaker, but we know what we're talking about when we're talking about the elite ones.
well, some are better
The
than
guys
others.
that transcends the game. Exactly.
Some are better than
Most,
others.
well, I can say most, but yeah, the best of the best are. We know that. And Dennis Rodman was the best of what he did to me. Like, there's no denying that he's clearly the best rebounder of the modern era.
Yeah.
One of the most
I agree.
versatile defenders in
Tony's
NBA history.
Tony's good.
Tony's a good one.
So,
Tony's a good one. Yeah.
Tony who?
Tony Allen.
Tony Allen.
So, yeah, he's a nice one, but I wouldn't classify his defense as playmaking so much.
I would say, yeah, he's a defense.
Like, he was a great
He's a defender, great defender. Yeah, not as far as
Like,
So that's
he's
what
like
we
a
talked
shut-
about.
he's like a
What's
I
the
can
difference
understand
between
that.
defender and defensive playmaker?
I can understand that. I can understand that.
Like
Okay.
Tony defense didn't really turn into a lot of offense. Like Dennis Rodman defense would turn into offense.
Would you put
You know
Michael
what I'm
Jordan in that
saying?
category?
Like, and that's
Michael
Yeah,
Jordan,
Michael Jordan would be the top
You
one.
put,
Yeah.
yeah, Michael Jordan would be in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Michael Jordan would be there. He showed that in Utah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would say,
Like, absolutely. Jordan.
what about Ben Wallace?
I was just thinking about him.
That was a name that did not
I
come
was,
up last
I
time.
was just thinking about him.
I wouldn't say Ben so much because I think his defense was just like great defense. Like it didn't, like, again, he wasn't turning his defense into offense. Like Dennis would get a steal, go coast to coast,
Okay.
things of that
Okay.
nature.
I got
driving
you.
on
I
the
got
Okay.
you.
floor.
Okay.
You
I
live,
mean, that makes
you
sense.
live in
That makes
somebody
sense.
who can transition
That makes
from
sense.
his defense into an offensive position. I got you.
So it's tough for big guys then because
Yeah.
blocking shots
So-
doesn't always transition.
Yeah, because
into
you're blocking
points.
shots and
That
you're
makes
a rim
sense.
protector. So
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So
I would say,
and
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I don't want to. I don't want to
Scotty.
because I wouldn't say Dennis Rodman is the greatest defender. I think that's Hakeem Olajuwon. But in terms of playmaking and how his defense was contagious to those Pistons team and contagious to those Bulls team, like I just think it's hard to truly say like another guy had that much impact defensively, and of course when you factor in the rebounding, which is defense as well.
Yeah, I know in
And
terms
his
of steals,
antics are
obviously.
legendary.
would you count
Go ahead,
Scottie
I'm
Pippen
sorry.
in that category?
Nope.
Because see, my thing with Pippen, he wasn't the scorer.
He wasn't Jordan with it.
Yeah,
He wasn't
yeah,
Jordan with it.
yeah.
Jordan, if
He
he
didn't
got
turn
a
it
steal, Jordan is going to dunk it.
right.
But
Pippen to
Allen's
get the
going
steal,
to
but
the
Pippen to
coast to
get the
coast.
steal, but he'll pass it off.
well, where I disagree
Yeah,
too is that I
he
think that you have
wasn't-
to
he
realize
wasn't
that
the same.
Michael Jordan was great at playing the passing lanes. A lot of his steals were intercepting those passes, and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman's defense led to a lot of those bad passes that he got to intercept.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of a team effort. Like a lot of his steals that turned into dunks on the other end are because of Scottie Pippen and because of Dennis Rodman.
I'm pretty sure those Michael led the league in steals twice before Scottie Pippen.
What about Kevin Garnett?
So he was still ripping people up too, like at the same. But I know like what you're saying, as far as the defense that they were playing in the '90s. Yeah, it was Michael Jordan did live in the passing lanes through the '90s. He lived there, and he got another steals title with Scottie Pippen on the team. But I believe Mike got 3 steals.
He got like 3 of them, I think. 3 of he got 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got 3, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, it's 3 of them.
he can rip you up. He was a ferocious perimeter defender. Like he lived in your back pocket.
Definitely.
Like lived there. He would
Would you
live
put
there,
Kobe?
on your
Would you
hip.
put
So,
would you put
like,
Kobe in
would
that
you put
category?
Kobe and Gary Payton in that
Would
category
you
as
put Kobe
well?
and Gary Payton in that category? I think that's a good shot for both of them.
I don't know if I'd go with either of them actually.
Kobe.
I think it's a conversation, but it might be
I'm with,
difficult.
I'm with Wayne on that one. I think Gary Payton he got that type of defense, but it was more like on ball. He wasn't going to truly turn the defense into. I don't want to say that. I just don't think he's top 5. I'm going to just say that.
I can understand that. I can
think,
definitely understand that.
Kobe. I think Kobe is a great perimeter defender, but not a great defensive playmaker.
Not a
Gotcha,
defensive playmaker. I can understand that
I
point.
think he was
Yeah.
the guy
Kevin
that could live
Garnett.
in your. Yeah.
What do you think about Kevin Garnett? Would he
Kevin
fit in that
Garnett,
category? I feel like he's kind of. I
Not
feel like
for
he
me
kind of
personally.
teeters it. Honestly,
Yeah,
here there. I don't
he's
want
on
to
the
say
edge
he's
of
a
it.
shoe in
He's
though.
versatile.
Yeah,
What
I don't want
about
to say he's a shoe in.
Yeah.
And I'll
What
say if
about
Rodman's
Kawhi?
the blueprint,
'Cause he
if
was-
Rodman's the blueprint, I'm thinking Ron Artest has to be right in there.
What about Kawhi?
Yeah, he's a guy that can be in that conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can put
Yes.
Ron in that. Absolutely, Kawhi. Absolutely. Ooh, what would you
Kawhi
think?
is a guy
What would you say
that-
about Paul George?
Ooh, I
Not
don't
top
know.
5, but he's a
Not
guy
top
that's
5,
in
but
that
I don't know. You
I
can
was gonna
count
say
top
probably
5.
kind of in
Yeah.
that conversation.
Yeah, I don't know top 5.
Okay, I like that. 'Cause that's different. I've never really thought about somebody being a defensive playmaker like that.
Me
But hey, I
either.
like that. That's
When
different.
Buat said it to me, it shocked me. I was like, "Nah, we got to talk about that on the show because that's
Absolutely.
a good fucking point."
Yeah.
Definitely.
We always talk
Definitely.
about
We're gonna
offensive playmakers.
We're all
but
talking
we
about
never
offense. Never talk about defense.
They want to
Yeah,
talk
we're
about
gonna need a list.
defensive playmakers.
That's
Trust
Definitely.
me, I'm gonna clip that shit. We'll probably
But
do
you
the
know
list
why
next
that
Monday.
is because playmaking is just most people think of passing when they think of playmakers,
Mhm.
simply
Yeah.
like a creator. And I don't boil it down to that. Like I boil it down to essentially if you go look it up, it's going to say a guy that can make a play, or it
Yeah.
might say a guy that runs the offense. And technically, a guy that runs the offense don't have to be the point guard.
True.
So that's what I mean. Like
Okay, most definitely. I feel that. I can understand that.
Because Pippen did bring a ball up for the Bulls, so that's true.
Mhm.
So true.
Yeah.
BJ never did it really. He
Well,
never really did it.
that's the show. I like to do final thoughts. So Mulich, final thoughts.
Y'all know what it is, man. We had a great show tonight. Like, comment, subscribe from the Sideline Sports. Follow the sports TikToks, follow the sports Twitter. Mulich or the Sports Maru from the Sideline. Follow the From the Sideline Twitter and From the Sideline podcast. And yeah, we're gonna see y'all on Wednesday.
Boo-wop.
And you already know. If I don't see y'all Wednesday, definitely Monday, man.
Monday. Wayne, final thoughts.
Just had a lot of fun and loved bringing some of my takes. I'm glad you guys liked the Wilt is the GOAT and Embiid is the best big man I've ever seen. Those are some good ones. But I stand by him.
Sorry, Troy cut out. So William, final thought, man.
Embiid, I love to come back on and discuss that with you. I love to come back on and discuss that with you. Hopefully you guys will have me back on. Had some issues with my son earlier, but I got everything squared away. I love to come back on and talk more basketball or some football. Love you guys to have me back on. I would love to come back and do that.
Hey man, shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all for sliding through today. Troy should be back in here in just a second to kind of close out the show. But great show today, guys. We appreciate you guys for pulling up.
I appreciate it. Troy, save us. Like, we're just on here.
Ready to go.
End the show, Troy.
I'm saying none of us have the button over here to end the show, but
right, we ain't got the button. You got the button, sir. You got the button.
I think he cut out. He should be back in here in just a second.
Nigga, I'm trying to sit back here trying to get back in.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Mulich said I had to turn on the volume. I had to turn on the volume on the YouTube because they're watching it on YouTube just to hear what they were saying. Mulich's like, hey, Troy, back in. The second thing I want all quiet. I'm like, no, get me in there. Get me in there. But nah, man, this is your host, Troy, man. Thank you guys for watching.